I gotta remember. Hello. Hi, everybody. Carrie Richardson here, ready to talk about clutter. Mic is on, phone is on, makeup's not fully on, but whatever. So I'm going to talk about clutter tonight to those of you joining me live or those of you watching the replay. My name is Carrie Richardson. I'm a lifestyle designer and a coach. And soon-to-be author. I have a book coming out in the fall with Hay House on clutter called Own Your Stuff, Uncover the Secrets in Your Clutter, and Reclaim Your Life. So I'm excited for that to come out. Clutter is a topic that I am a little bit obsessed with, and because I think there's so much more to it than you think. You think it's just like stuff laying around your house that is annoying and piling up. Hey, Sarah, welcome. But clutter's much more than that, as we will discuss during our chat here tonight. So I'm going to give it a couple more minutes for people to show up. In the meantime, I don't know if you've all seen this. This cracked me up. There's a little meme that's going around on Facebook. It's been going around for a while, so I'm sure you've seen it. And it says, I tried the Japanese method of decluttering, where you hold every object that you own, and if it doesn't bring you joy, you throw it away. So far, I've thrown out all my vegetables, my bra, the electric bill, the scale, a mirror, and a treadmill. So funny. I love it. Clutter can be a real pain in the ass for a lot of people. It can pile up and weigh us down. So I want to talk tonight about what clutter might really be representing in your life, why you're having trouble getting rid of it, and some different ways to think about it, I think, in a way that you have never before. So while I'm chatting here, I want this to be a conversation, so put your thoughts in the comments below. I've got Melissa on the line again, so if I miss anything, she'll alert me to it if you have any questions that I missed. But let's have this be a conversation about clutter. So as I'm talking, type, is there a certain type of clutter that you're struggling to get rid of? What type of clutter would you love to see leave or be out of your life? It'll help put all of this in context. I find that the concept that I talk about in regards to clutter is very intangible and very theoretical. So putting it into practice can make it much more, can make it easier to kind of get the concept of it. So I have a couple examples here that I'm going to share with you to help put it into context, but always great to chat with anyone who is here with me live. So again, go ahead and use that comment section to put in any thoughts. So the first thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to clutter, there's this cool, first of all, I love that meme. I think it's so funny. And then there is this website and podcast and blog that I follow and listen to called The Minimalists. Now, having said that, you don't have to be a minimalist, but they have some really cool ideas when it comes to navigating clutter. And one thing that I really love that they talked about this year was they call it the minimalist game. And again, don't let that term scare you or fool you, but it's a really neat way to get started on clearing some clutter. So, you take a month-long period, whether you started at it's easiest to start it at the beginning of a month, but don't let that stop you. Hey, Dee Dee. Hey, Melissa. Oh, yeah, you're Melissa. Thank you. Yeah, theminimalist.com. So they have this thing called the minimalist game. So on day 1, you get rid of 1 thing. On day 2, you get rid of 2 things. Day 3, 3 things, etc. So if you take a typical 31-day period, at the end of those 31 days, I did the math, I think it's like you'd be rid of like 496 items. Or 486 items. If you did that game, get rid of 1 thing on day 1, 2 things on day 2, etc. Naturally, it gets a little bit more challenging as you go along because, on day 18, you're getting rid of 18 things. But it's really kind of cool to look around. I mean, I'm someone who has pared down a lot. And it's hard for me to find things to still get rid of, which I know sounds crazy, but I really have pared down a whole lot. So, oh, hey, Sarah. Oh, thanks. So it's really cool. So that's a great way to just dive into clutter. And I want you to keep that little game in mind as I talk about my ideas around clutter, because using that game with my approach to clutter is going to help you to really understand and learn what your clutter represents in your life. So, if you find you're on day 8 and you're trying to find 8 things to get rid of, and you can find 8 things, but you're just struggling to get rid of it, then this whole concept that I'm going to talk about will help you dig into the why. Like, why am I having so much trouble getting rid of it? So, first off, I just want to talk about clutter in general, very briefly, and the different types of clutter. Because naturally, the first thing we all think of is like books and clothes and photos and toiletries and socks and stuff like that. Yes, that's absolutely clutter. But there's also the emotional clutter. There might be relationship clutter. You might have like friendships who just drive you nuts, or maybe you lack some boundaries in your life, so you have a lot of like draining relationships around you. You can have a negative ticker tape running in your mind. That's mental clutter. Blocking beliefs, old fears. Like, there's so many different things that are clutter. So I define clutter as anything that's getting in your way of living the life that you dream of. So anything at all. It can be, like I said, limited thinking. It might physically be stuff. It might be people. It doesn't mean that you necessarily get rid of it all, especially like, say, relationships. Although some relationships you might want to get rid of, some may just need some repair instead of some replacing. So when you think about clutter, the first thing you're going to think about mostly is the physical stuff, which is totally fine. That's what's going to help you with the minimalist game, right? The getting rid of one thing first day, 2 things second day, etc. So when you start to get your hands on the physical clutter that you're looking to get rid of, you can then ask yourself, what is it about this item? Like, why do I even have this item? Does it bring me joy? Do I find it useful, or do I find it beautiful? If it's not something you love, need, or want, then it's clutter. So a lot of times people will tell me that they struggle because they feel guilty getting rid of something, or they feel bad because it was either a gift from someone or an heirloom, something that you paid a lot of money for. Lots of reasons why people struggle getting rid of stuff, but the energetic cost of keeping something that you don't love, need, or want, or use is far greater than any cost that you spent on it. And as far as like, sentimental items or things that loved ones gave you, hey Mary, welcome. Anything that loved ones gave you, especially I find that people have a hard time letting go of things from a deceased loved one because they think, oh my God, I couldn't. That would be so disrespectful if I got rid of this item from someone. And I'm here to tell you that loved one of yours is in that other dimension saying, please get rid of it. Don't keep it, because you're keeping it out of guilt, right? If you don't love the item, then you're keeping it out of guilt. And that's the last thing they would want, is for you to hang on to something out of guilt. So guilt can be a big one when it comes to getting rid of sentimental items. Maybe it's, like I have a small box of some college memories. And even as I think about that now, because I couldn't tell you outside of maybe 2 items what's in that box, there's a good chance it doesn't mean that much to me. So as I'm saying this, that's a place that I could go for the minimalist challenge. It's like, okay, I'm going to take a look at that box, and if there's something I really love in it and I want to remember it, I might take a picture of it instead of keeping the actual item, because clearly the item doesn't mean too much to me because A, it's in a box, and B, I can't even remember what's in the box. So I'm just going to pause here because we're talking about photos. Mary has a question. What about photos of people that you are really not attached to, but it feels really icky to throw photos away? Hey, Lisa. I see it's tricky because it doesn't feel icky to me to throw photos away. I love, if if they're not photos that you love, then I would think it would feel ickier to keep them. So I guess I'd want to know more, Mary, about what feels icky about throwing photos away. I know it can feel like, it almost feels like you're throwing the person away. But again, I always say, think about that person. Oh, thanks, LT. Think about that person in the photo that you feel bad throwing it away. What would they say if you said, oh, I'm keeping this photo because I feel bad throwing it away because you're in it? They'd be like, throw it away. So So I'd want you to explore more, Mary, like what is it about the photos that makes you feel bad throwing them away? Like what are the consequences that you tell yourself will happen? Or yeah, like I'd want you to dig into what are the consequences. Residual Catholic guilt. Very well could be. As a recovering Catholic myself, no offense to the Catholics out there. But yes, I get what you're saying. It could be residual Catholic guilt. So I think that's a great place for you to go to then, Mary. I would do one palm round, which I'm going to explain what that is for those of you who don't know, on your photos. And just do that sort of keep, maybe, toss. Keep, maybe, toss. That kind of thing. And do that quick sort first. And then, so you got the toss pile, toss those. Now you got the maybe pile, go through them again. And if you find that you're really getting tripped up on some of them, then it's worth either doing some journaling about it, or, kind of thinking about what is it about this photo that makes it so difficult to get rid of. Melissa says maybe burn them in a releasing ceremony. So that's one option. I might hesitate a little bit depending on the age of the photos, just because the chemicals that are used in developing film. But that's certainly an option, or you can just tear them up, shred them in the shredder as kind of like a little ritual. No, Lisa, I wouldn't say just get a dumpster and put on a blindfold. I will find you and smack you. Now, I know Lisa personally, and she knows how anti-dumpster both Melissa and I are. So, no. The goal is to keep things out of dumpsters. Our landfills don't need any more shit in them. That's all I'm going to say about that. Don't bait me again, LT. So when you think about like the physical clutter, books, clothes, toiletries, photos, like Mary said, really do that initial sort. The best way that you're going to learn what is going on underneath the struggle to get rid of that stuff is to get your hands on it and get into it. So what I mentioned earlier when I said the palm round, there's a little technique that I use whenever I'm struggling to get something done or get going on something. And it's called the Pomodoro Technique. Big fancy word. Pomodoro just means tomato in Italian. And it's really, I believe it comes from just the old kitchen timers were in the shape of a tomato. So you get a timer. You pick your tasks. So let's say, Mary, for you, we'll use you as an example. You're going to go through your photos. So you're going to sit amongst your photos. You're going to set a timer for 25 minutes. And you're going to start that sort. And you're going to keep going until the 25 minutes is up. Really push yourself to go through the full 25 minutes. Keep, maybe, toss are your initial piles. When the timer goes off, you take a 5-minute break up and away from the task at hand. So stand up and stretch, go throw a load of laundry in, step outside for a breath of fresh air, which I always have to pause when I say that because I always go to say a fresh of breath air. A breath of fresh air. That's right? Yeah. So go outside for a breath of fresh air. 5 minutes away from the task. Then come back, do another round. And again, if you just do one round, totally fine. If you're feeling totally ambitious and you do like 4 rounds in a row with a 5-minute break in between each, then after 4 rounds, you take a 30-minute break, a bigger, longer break up and away from the task. This keeps your mind fresh. This keeps you plugged into the task because that resistant part of you knows there's an end in sight. You're not done once all of your photos have been gone through. You're done when the timer goes off. So that can really help get your resistance on board as well. So use the Pomodoro Technique. And again, you can go to pomodorotechnique.com. Melissa, you want to try typing that one in? Sure. pomodorotechnique.com. I mean, really, that's the gist of it. So you can go there if you'd like some more information about it, but that's it. 25 minutes, get going. So when you get into the sorting of that clutter, that's what's going to really help you see what's truly going on. And let me give you an example. So I had a client in the past who had this like really stubborn pile of paperwork on her counter. And it was just paperwork that she knew she either had to file or follow up on or something like that. And she's like, God, I'm so good about clutter, but this one pile is such a pain in my ass. I cannot seem to get rid of it. And so as we talked more and more about it, through several conversations, what we came to determine is her child was old enough now that she was ready to go back to work. She was able to go back to work. But she was telling herself, I can't go back to work until that pile of clutter is cleared for whatever reasons. I think there were some work-related papers in there. And so that got me thinking. I'm like, okay, is there anything about going back to work that you dread? Or are you looking forward to it? And she said, well, I'm not necessarily looking forward to the office politics. You know, the last job I had, people were really kind of nasty and there was just BS that happened in the office. And I'm not looking forward to that. So I said, okay, so what if the pile of paperwork was your protection from having to go back to the office and deal with office politics? Pause, please. And she said, well, yeah, it could be. And I said, what if we talked more about setting boundaries with people in the office and lining you up with some language to help you do that? Then maybe you wouldn't need the clutter to be your scapegoat for not going back to the office. Excuse me. Sure, that sounded nice. And so she kind of chewed on that for a little bit and went, all right, let me think about that. And so we talked about the different experiences in the past that, you know, she ran into in office politics, and she gave me a couple examples, and we talked about the boundaries that she could set. And when she had that more under her belt and felt like, yeah, I could do that, then the clutter was a piece of cake for her to get rid of. So that's an example of what I'm talking about when I say that clutter is more than just the stuff. I'm just going to go back here for a second. So Lisa says, maybe you make a scrapbook, take the album to a nursing home, and spend an hour with the folks talking about what... I don't get to see the rest of the comment. But yes, so that's a cool idea, Lisa. So, I mean, that's actually...
Talking about what you love.
Talking about what you love. Got it. Hey, Penny. So that's a cool idea. So, you know, especially that, gosh, when I think about, you know, the elderly people at nursing homes who don't get visitors, like, they might have a blast hearing about that stuff, even though they don't know the people, but it could be kind of cool for them to just share stories. But there's all sorts of creative ways that you can manage clutter these days, especially with the technology we have at our hands. Hey, Penny. Lisa, this is not vodka, despite what you may think. Although it could be. So I also want to talk a little bit about different kinds of clutter as well. So there's relationship clutter, boundaries, weight. These are all forms of clutter as well. So again, anything that's getting in the way of you living the life you really want to be living is clutter. So if you have, like, say you have a friend who calls you and you're like, oh, I'm going to, or these days texts you or Facebook messages you or tweets you or whatever. And you find yourself going, oh man, I don't want to talk to that person. And so you find that you're avoiding their calls, or that's a good sign that you have some relationship clutter there. So think about, what is it about that relationship that isn't working for you right now? And is it a relationship that you want to repair or you want to replace? So you can think about, how do I handle relationship clutter? Because again, clutter is, this is kind of interesting too. So the word clutter actually stems from the old English word clotter. So which literally means to block up, like to clot. If you think about blood that clots, right? It clots up, so, it blocks stuff. So clutter is stuck energy. It comes from that old English word clotter. So it really is that it is stuck energy. So anything that's in your life that you don't love, need, use, or want is blocking the channels for what you really want to come in from arriving. So when you clear this clutter, books, relationships, weight, whatever it is, you stir up some stuck energy, and that starts to get you back in that flow. You know those times in your life when you're feeling like so totally in the flow, and things just happen to be like, they seem to be lining up, everything seems to be kind of easy. That's because the stale energy has been stirred up. That's why you can feel the incredible benefits of clearing clutter just by getting started. You don't have to wait until that spare room is completely empty or organized. You just need to get started on it. You stir up the energy. Same thing with, like, if you want to improve your health. You can, like, there was oh God, there was when Melissa and I went, hey Mary, when Melissa and I went on our New Year's Day beach walk, we have fallen way off the exercise bandwagon. And so it took everything we had to, hey Judy, thank you, to get our asses up off the couch and to the beach for a walk. We were there maybe 10 minutes and we were both feeling amazing. We felt clear-headed, we felt plugged into life, we were happier. And this is not because we finished our exercise routine that we have been exercising for months. We got outside and walked for 10 minutes. I mean, we were there longer, but within the first 10 minutes, we felt amazing. So that's the power of just getting started. You don't have to finish. Ideally, you want to finish, obviously, but you can get that feeling of success just by getting started. So whatever the clutter is that drives you nuts, just get started. So Dee Dee, I see you said, can you talk about cluttered thoughts, hanging on to thoughts that don't serve you anymore? Yeah, that's a great one, Dee Dee. I'd want you to look at, Dee Dee asked about cluttered thoughts that you just can't let go of, that you know aren't serving you anymore. Think about, and this goes for any kind of clutter that you struggle to get rid of. What role or purpose is it serving in your life? That there's got to be a benefit to not being able to let go of those thoughts or those things or whatever it is. Otherwise, they'd be gone. So it plays a role in your life. So there's something about those thoughts, Dee Dee, that is benefiting you. And I know that sounds crazy. It's like, I don't want them anymore. How could they be benefiting me? There's got to be a payout to keeping them. Otherwise, you wouldn't. So, for instance, I'll talk about weight, just because that's something very personal to me. I've been on, I have a weight roller coaster in my life. And, I had lost a lot of weight. I gained a bunch back. I know for me that my weight serves me, which is crazy, right? Because who wants extra weight? But my extra weight serves me because it protects me, it numbs me, protects my vulnerability if I'm feeling really sensitive or if I'm feeling sad or dissatisfied. If I'm just feeling small, I pile on the weight as a form of protection. I reach for sugar and carbs to squash down my emotions, and I pile on weight as protection. So that's how I know when my weight goes up, it's a good sign to me that something's not jiving in my life, that something's not working. And so I can certainly try to eat better and exercise more, and that will be helpful. And actually getting started in that way can help me access the true source of what's going on underneath the weight gain, maybe a little bit better. But I know if I don't incorporate that part on my health journey, finding out why the weight even reappeared to begin with, it's just going to reappear again and again and again. So those cluttered thoughts, Dee Dee, there's something in those thoughts that is benefiting you right now. Hey, Leah Marie. There's something in those thoughts that's benefiting you right now. Otherwise, you wouldn't have them anymore. So I would really want you to think about, if those cluttered thoughts truly were gone, what would life be like for you? And go beyond the immediate answer of, oh my God, it would be so great. It would be so great if those thoughts were gone. I would love it. Go beyond that. Okay, now let's imagine that they really are gone and they're no longer there anymore. What are you now available energetically to do that you weren't available to do before? And does that excite you? Does that terrify you? It's really, really interesting. Again, I'll talk about with the example of my weight clutter. When I lost a lot of weight before, I thought, well, this can only be good, right? This is great. Get the weight off, get the weight off. But I noticed the more I lost, the more kind of vulnerable and exposed I felt. And I had to learn how to feel safe without the protective layers of weight. So that's how it was really serving me. And if I didn't learn at that time how to practice feeling safe within myself without the layers, I would invite them right back on. So you really want to look at, if those cluttered thoughts were truly gone, what might you be exposed to or available for that might feel a little bit scary? So hopefully that's helpful, Dee Dee. Hey, Karen. When I moved, downsized, I kept those things that brought joy and felt like the new me. Can you read the rest of that, Melissa?
Yep. I was leaving a place I didn't feel good about and moving back to New York City where I wanted to be. I started out with choices that fit in the smaller one-bedroom apartment, then it changed to what served my new me.
Ah, nice. God, that's so good, Karen. Like that's so important. It's like, that's our traditional way of living, right? It's like have space must fill, meaning whatever the space is, small space or big space, it's like, well, here's the space I have, so I guess this is what I'm supposed to do to fill it. But as you said, Karen, when you make that shift of like, well, wait a minute, what do I love and want and truly need around me that would make me feel good, and I'll make that a part of my space. That concept is really coming into play in our lives right now, building the tiny house, because when you build a tiny house, you have to design your space for exactly how you will be using it and living in it and loving it, instead of like when you move into a traditional house and you say, oh, well, we've got 2 bedrooms and 2 baths and a kitchen and a dining room. Let's furnish it. In a tiny house, it's like, here are the items I have that I love, need, and want that are coming with me. Let's make sure the space can accommodate the items that I want in my life. So it's I also have to pause with this too. It's function before form. Is that right, Melissa? It's
Yeah.
yeah. So it's function and then form. So yeah, Karen, it's that have space must fill is in my story, in the introduction of my book that's coming out in the fall, because when we bought our house, it was a 2,000 square foot house. We came from a 700 square foot apartment, and the story I tell in the introduction of my book is that Melissa's parents came. Her father is like this master at decorating. He can like see a room, and it's amazing what he can do to it. Like the vision he has, it just blows my mind. But anyway, so he said, you guys go to bed, leave out all of your home decor stuff. I'll start decorating because I'll probably be awake before you. We thought, great. And I thought, oh my God, I can't wait to see what he's going to do with this stuff. Like he's so good at it. So we put our stuff out, went to bed, woke up the next morning, and one room was beautifully adorned. Beautifully adorned. The rest of the rooms were blank. And so I looked at him and I'm like, Bill, I mean, I love that room. It looks amazing, but what about the rest of the rooms? And he said, well, where's the rest of your stuff? And I said, oh. I go, oh, you used everything in that one room. I said, we came from a very small apartment. And he said, well, I guess we better go shopping. And I went, yep, I guess so. So it was like we had all these rooms to fill, rooms that we didn't need. It was just 2 of us. But so then we filled the space, and, fast forward many years after we decided to sell the house, then we're selling everything that we bought. And so the idea now of having just what I need and owning my stuff instead of it owning me just frees me up to live life more and not feel so weighed down by my things. So yeah. Thanks, Karen. I'm just scrolling here, so don't mind my big finger.
I have it right here.
Oh, Leah Marie, I know. That's my beautiful niece, Leah Marie. Yes, Dee Dee, it is going to be on wheels. Yeah, I do miss that house too. I miss the location. I miss the town. That's part of, living where we're currently living. Just to build the house is not our ideal location. So we are missing it up there. We're missing our people, LT. We're missing our home. We're missing our town. So when our house is done, we're going to be heading back up that way. So LT, we hope to be back up in that area, gosh, by June. Fingers crossed. So, so while I love the house and I miss the house, I don't miss the space. And I don't miss the maintenance. And I don't miss the weekends that were eaten up by yard work and cleaning. And I mean, if we did a full, thorough cleaning of that house, it'd be 3 hours or more. And I was like, that's not how we want to live. So anyway, I digress. Okay, Sarah. What does TGST mean, miss?
I have no idea.
Oh, is that what was in the comments?
Yeah.
Can safety net be similar with mental clutter? What if I'm concerned if my mind isn't busy enough? Okay, so I'm just going to scroll back. Oh, Sarah. Oh, can that safety net be similar with mental clutter? Yeah. What if I'm concerned if my mind isn't busy enough? So, Sarah, that's a great question, too. So, I would want you, Sarah, to think about what is so scary about a quiet mind. So, yes, for everyone, busy is the new normal. Like, how are you? Oh, I'm so busy. Or, what have you been up to? Oh, I've been so busy. Like, there's this almost badge of honor that we wear about being busy. And I think it's because a lot of people fear quiet, fear being with their own thoughts. Or, so if you're concerned that your mind is too busy, or that, if you're concerned if your mind isn't busy enough, I would want you to think about what feels so scary about a quiet mind. And a really quick way to experience that is to do a mind dump. So to sit down with a pen and paper, empty everything that's on your mind onto that paper, every thought, anything that's on your mind. No censoring, no editing, no organizing, categorizing. What is so scary about a quiet mind? And stop to think about that. Like, once you empty that brain, then you can be with that quiet mind for the moment. And I would immediately start writing the thoughts that are jumping in now to fill that empty space. Does that make sense, Sarah? So hopefully that's helpful. Do a mind dump and ask yourself, what feels so scary about a quiet mind? Let me see. Oh, Karen, another tweetable. Good idea. I'm still tweaking my whole Facebook Live thing, so I love that. Do we have a hashtag for you? This is Facebook Live for you, or this Facebook Live. Oh, I get what you're saying. You know what? I don't have a hashtag. And Melissa, can you write that down?
Yeah.
I will for next time. Thanks, Karen. Super helpful. I so feel you about not missing. Yeah, Karen, so you get it too, not missing the space and the maintenance. It's like, I don't want my whole life to be about maintaining my stuff or, dodging relationships or anything like that. So Penny loves when she has time to just think. It's relaxing to her. So a quiet mind really serves Penny well. There's something about a quiet mind that scares Sarah a little bit, so worth digging into. The other kind of things that clutter can represent, to give you a more idea of this concept, is, what does the item represent that you don't want to let go of? For instance, if you think about, say you have, I don't know, old college t-shirts. I'm just going to make this up. And when you look at them, they remind you of your heyday and of a time when life was exciting and fun and more carefree, etc. Then instead of keeping the shirts, think about, what is it about that time in my life that I loved so much that I don't want to let go of these? If you don't wear them, it's kind of like my box that I'm going to now go through with some college memories. What is it about those items? What do they remind me of? How do they make me feel? And then how can I get that feeling in my life today? It's probably going to look differently. I mean, maybe some of, I think of one item that's in that box is it's a roller keg mug. And so in college, it was a big party that you went to, and, they literally, the frats and sororities rolled kegs, and you drank a lot, and it was crazy. So when I look at that mug, it's not that I want to start binge drinking from a keg. It's just, there's something about that time that I really enjoyed and loved and must be missing in my life. So think about what the item might represent that makes it difficult for you to get rid of it. Let me just jump back to a comment here. Karen, your wisdom is so well. Thanks, Karen. Give me a hashtag so I can tweet. Okay, so my Twitter name is Carrie Coach. Same as Facebook. So it's facebook.com/Carrie Coach. Twitter handle is @Carrie Coach. I on the spot, I can't think of a hashtag just because I'm in my flow right now. But so you can feel free to share this post while we're still talking here, or you can share the replay after. Hey, Shelly, welcome. So yeah, I would love it. Let me say that, Karen. That's a good thought. Is if you can go ahead and share this while we're talking, I'd really appreciate it. I'd love to have even more people join the conversation. So really thinking about what the items that you can't get rid of might represent. Another cool example is I had a client who had files and like filing cabinets and drawers of paper. And primarily what the paper was blog posts that she printed off, articles that she found online, magazine articles, etc. And so she just had boxes of them. And through our conversation, she was like, I really struggled to get rid of these papers. And so we started at the logical place, trying to get her to do a Pomodoro round on one of the drawers. And let's see about getting rid of some of it. And she made a little bit of headway, but came to the next call and said, I'm really struggling to get rid of this stuff. And so I talked more about it like I'm doing here is how can you figure out what it represents? And so through our conversation, several conversations, we determined that she always felt like she wasn't necessarily the smartest one in her family. And she felt like those articles and blog posts and clippings that she saved were the kind of supplemental intelligence that she was lacking, or that she told herself that she was lacking. And so when we talked more about, so it was really a blocking belief that was keeping that clutter, her belief of, I'm not smart enough. So as we worked on flipping that belief to something more empowering, like I am intelligent, bright, and have everything I need for whatever I want to do in life, or something like that. When we practiced getting her to have a more empowering belief and worked on that limited thinking that told her she wasn't the smart one in her family, then she was able to let go of the paper much more easily. When she truly believed that her wisdom lied within, she didn't need all these drawers and drawers of papers. So again, she was able to identify, what does that clutter represent? How is it serving me? How can I get that need met in a healthier way? Then I can get rid of the clutter. So I'm going to go back here. Leah Marie says, I let go of a toxic friendship as well. It's so hard. Yeah, but that's clutter, Leah Marie. It is hard. When you identify a friendship in your life that is just not working for you anymore, and you've tried to repair it if it's one that you want to repair and that didn't happen, sometimes we just outgrow people. Sometimes we just go in different directions. Doesn't mean that we're bad people. It just means it's time to move on. And if the relationship's not working for one of us, it's not working for either of us. So it takes the courageous one to end the friendship, so the other one can move on with their life as well. So yeah, it's tough, but I'm sure, Leah Marie, you've already experienced a freeing sensation as a result of ending that friendship. And imagine the space you created for something much more fitting to come in, whether that's in the form of a new friendship or, more mental time with your son, or who knows what. I mean, you've created space for sure, which is great. Karen King, take pictures of your items, then digital album, save the memories, release the clutter. Love that idea. Yeah, I say that to people who talk to me about getting rid of greeting cards. So they, my mother's one who loves to keep greeting cards, and actually my mother-in-law too, and a lot of people do. It's either you feel guilty about getting rid of it, or, oh, it was so nice of them to send it to me. And so I tell them, I'm like, well, here's a couple things with greeting cards. If it's just a store-bought greeting card that just says, like love Carrie in it, unless you love the picture on the front or the verses that are printed inside, there's no reason to hang on to it. So you're keeping it out of guilt again, right? If you love the picture that's on it, rip it off and take it, keep it. A friend of mine uses that as part of wrapping. When she wraps a gift, she'll put a picture of the greeting card on the gift as part of the wrapping. It's beautiful. Or if someone writes a personal, heartfelt note in it, you can take a picture of that note, like Karen was saying earlier, or you can even cut out the personal note and make a collage of a bunch of them. I mean, how beautiful would that be to look at? Frame it. Or you can take pictures of it and make a digital collage as well. I mean, there's so much you can do. You don't have to keep things in their original condition or their original form to have it serve an important purpose in your life. Let me just scroll here. Oh, thanks, Karen, for making that tweetable. What is so scary? Love that. Thank you. Penny, I've learned to delete stress in my life for my own health. Yeah. Oh, man. I mean, I don't know how many more reports have to come out about the effects of stress on our bodies. But yeah, whatever is stressing you out, say sayonara to it. Yeah, Shelly, thank you. There'll be a replay. Thanks for joining. So just a couple more points before we wrap up. I don't want to take up too much of your time. So, like I talked about before, you can feel the benefits of just getting started. Hey, Amy, welcome. You get to feel the benefits of success just by getting started. So think about your type of clutter. Some people have shared on here cluttered thoughts, photos. Think about what your type of clutter is. It might be memories from an old relationship. It might be negative self-talk. It might be books. It could be lots of stuff. So think about when you think of your clutter, what kind jumps out to you to begin with? What's the first thing that comes to mind? That's the place to start. Because clearly that's the stuff that's driving you the most crazy. So determine that one place of clutter that you want to start with and do one Pomodoro round, one 25-minute round on that clutter. Now, when I say that, hey, Neil, how's your back? Sorry. Man, I know I had back surgery. So anyway, so when you think about the type of clutter that you have, just do that one 25-minute round. And now that may mean that the first 15 minutes of the 25-minute round might be struggling with your resistance on, you're welcome, Karen, struggling with your resistance in even getting rid of the clutter. So you might journal a little bit, you might jot down some notes, I don't even want to do this, I hate this clutter, whatever. You might find that the clutter you need to clear first is your resistance before you even get to the actual clutter. So, yeah, think about what is it that you need to do first to get rid of it. Neil, I hope you're feeling better. I really do. Hey, Penny. I'm thinking actually about doing these weekly. So this might become like a weekly Monday night Facebook Live convo. I was going to call it Cocktails with Carrie, but Melissa thought that was a little too casual. And I was going to have a cocktail. But, so it might just be convos with Carrie. Occasionally it might be cocktails with Carrie. We'll see. So yeah, if there's any particular topics that you guys want me to cover or talk about or that you're struggling with in your life where you're feeling stuck, let me know. I have some other ideas of some topics I'm going to be doing, like I thought grief would be a good one, having just lost my dad. I can certainly talk about that. Resistance, motivation, beliefs, perspective, boundaries, etc., etc. So I've got lots of ideas, but would love to hear from you guys as well. So, oh wait, Neil just had a question. How do you stop people buying you unwanted stuff for birthdays and Christmas? Neil, that's such a good question. That's hard, right? Because people think they're really being kind and generous. I think the best thing you can do, which can be tricky for some people, is to let your wishes be known. And so when an occasion comes up, you can say, hey, listen, sometimes I'll say to Melissa, if anyone asks what I want for my birthday, tell them blank. And so it might be, tell them I'd love for them to donate, to this particular charity that means a lot for me in my name. That would be great. Or, I don't know, maybe a gift card or something. But really thinking about what is it that you would love, because people are going to want to give you a gift, right? It's Christmas, it's your birthday. They're going to want to give you something. Or you can you can certainly make an arrangement and say, hey, listen, let's stop the gift giving and instead we can all donate to charities, or we can do something different. For a few years now, in Melissa's family, we would all go to a soup kitchen on Christmas and feed the homeless in lieu of presents. Or so there's an experience you can do together. I think the easiest way to help people to no longer give you unwanted items is to let them know what items you'd want. Or, sometimes I get things and they go right to donation. So I'm like, well, maybe someone will love this, but I keep it, I don't love it, then it's clutter. But I love the idea of donating your birthday to a charity of your choice and telling people, hey, if you really want to get me something for my birthday, why don't you send a donation in the amount of my age, let's say, to such and such a charity. I think that can be a really cool idea. If they insist on still giving you shit, give it away. Someone will want it. One man's trash, right? Karen, do we set up 25-minute rounds continuously with breaks, or does it matter how much time between 20? Oh yeah, Melissa answered. So yeah, 5-minute breaks between each Pomodoro round. If you do 4 Pomodoro rounds in a row with those 5-minute breaks, you then want to take a longer break after the 4th. So you'll want to do a 30-minute break after the 4th Pomodoro round. And again, the break is to be up and away from the task at hand, to keep your mind fresh and to also keep your resistance in check. So hopefully that's helpful. All right, everybody. So I want to leave you with this. If you are not subscribed to my newsletter, you can get a great free clutter workbook just by subscribing to my newsletter. You just have to go to kerryrichardsson.com, and right on the right-hand side there, in the right-hand column, look for the words free gift. Sign up there, and with your confirmed subscription, you will get a clutter workbook to help you further identify the message in the mess. So, yeah. So I hope you found this helpful. Thank you, everyone. Got it. Make sauce for 1 hour.
Pomodoro.
Pomodoro. Got it. Melissa got it before I did. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah, there'll be the replay. I'll post it around so people can easily find it, but you can just find the replay right here, facebook.com/kerrycoach. Really awesome talking to you all. Look for these every Monday night with different topics. I saw some of your suggestions here. I'll look back at those. Also, feel free to email me, kerry@kerryrichardsson.com, with any suggestions for topics that you'd like me to cover. Yeah, and I really love that you guys came. So thank you so much. It's really nice spending this time with you, and we'll see you again next week. Thanks, Penny. Bye, everybody.